My name is Benton Stokes. I'm a former fundamentalist, post-evangelical worship leader, and songwriter. I enjoy wry Manhattans, roller coasters, and road trips, just not all at the same time.
I'm Elaine O'Rourke, and I'm a teacher, an author, and a spiritual coach. I was a philosophy professor and a liberal pastor in a couple of former lives, and these days I love aha moments and not-so-dry martinis.
We have conversations about life and God with a queer perspective, over cocktails, like you. This is Cocktail Theology. Today's cocktail is called the Rolls Royce.
Oh, that explains its golden color.
It's gorgeous.
Not that I've ever seen a gold Rolls Royce, which would be really kind of the epitome of something. What's in it?
So it's gin.
Okay, got that.
Both sweet and dry vermouth.
Okay, that explains one thing I've tasted. Okay.
Yeah, and Benedictine and orange bitters.
Okay. It's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Like I was getting little bits of all those things, but I couldn't figure out, other than herby. Right. I couldn't come up with anything more like insightful than, oh, this has herby things in it.
The orange comes through more than I thought it would.
I'm not getting as much of the orange. I may have to drink some more. Hang on a minute.
Maybe.
Nope, still gonna have to keep trying. So I want to talk to you today.
Uh-huh.
I had a question.
Okay.
And then I'll explain why I have the question. Okay. When you were growing up, what was the reason to be a Christian?
Well, mostly it was to avoid hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the end game was avoidance of hell.
Avoidance of hell. That's right.
So this was about turning your entire life over to a particular way of thinking, way of behaving, whatever, in order to avoid eventual, eternal, burning?
Punishment.
Separation
from God and punishment, yeah.
Yeah, but really it was about punishment rather than separation from God, right?
Right.
Okay. So recently, as you know, I've done a couple of weddings recently. Yeah. And in one of them, I was exploring with the couple, as we were trying to write their service. Talk to me about what your faith life is like. What does that mean for you?
Yeah.
And one of the people said that they thought that one could be good without being religious. In other words, one could behave correctly without being religious. Which made me think, okay, so that person thinks that the end game of religious practice, if not religious faith, is just being a decent human being. That the goal is to do that. And I've heard that quite often. Yeah. I've had many people say, I don't need to believe in XYZ. It doesn't matter what the XYZ is, in order to be a good person.
Yeah.
Now, whether we think that's true or not, it says something about what we think the whole point is.
Right.
So I'm curious about what we think the whole point is. What's the end game of religious faith? And I don't care which religious faith, although I think it's different for different. In fact, I feel confident that people understand the end game differently for different things.
Yes.
But I want to talk with you today about what some of those end games, what some of those goals might be, and whether any of them makes more sense than others.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the whole fear of hell thing, or fear of punishment.
Sure.
So I think the fear of punishment one is really interesting, because the idea, for most people, I think, is that the punishment comes after you die, which could be a very long time away. Okay. Human beings, particularly Americans, are terrible at the long game. We're the worst.
Yes.
We don't think about what our grandchildren will have to live through. Right. We don't think about the earth. We don't think about any of that stuff. So I find it fascinating that somebody could be inspired to worry about what's going to happen in 80, 90 years.
Right.
So I think that there's something odd in that. So I'm wondering, like, if you told me, and this is what goes into that, into the, what do you call it? You're going to make a lot of money. Prosperity gospel.
Oh, yeah.
That one at least has a shorter time frame.
It does.
Right? So in theory, if I follow Jesus and Joel Osteen, I will become rich. Okay, right? I mean, there's something about that. It doesn't have to be Joel Osteen. It can be anybody. that one at least has a shorter time frame.
Right.
Like I can look at it and say, well, this person has done well
Yeah.
in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So they must have some good advice for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's one end game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be financially prosperous in this life.
Mm-hmm.
That one at least seems closer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
As opposed to, I may be punished 90 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
When the idea of getting a parking ticket doesn't prevent us from... Right? So I'm kind of thinking about, well, for the people who are afraid of punishment, what would that punishment have to look like for it to be that compelling? See, I don't think it's actually about hell, but I want to hear what your take is.
Well, it comes down to appeasing an angry God.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the faith that I grew up in, I could gain and lose my salvation 100 times in a day.
Right.
And so you are literally just like walking around on razor blades all the time.
God is so fickle.
Yeah. So it paints God to be capricious and moody and petty.
Okay.
And vengeful.
Okay.
So you don't want to be on the receiving end of all that.
Right.
And because salvation is one of those things that comes and goes depending on, your actions, and it can be actions that you're unaware of. You try very hard in your moment to moment life to live in a way, to think in a way, to talk in a way, to act in a way that would please this capricious, angry God. Because if you don't please this God, then God will send you to punishment. And punishment is usually burning or eternal darkness or some metaphor for something awful.
See, I hear you. And I understand the concept, and I understand how functional that could be. But I find it really interesting. So I'm imagining if you're a small child, then punishment ties very closely into your relationship with your parents.
Right.
Okay. So God is a stand-in for parents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to disappoint my parents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be punished by my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That one makes a lot of sense to me, and particularly in child development terms, children bond with their parents first.
Yeah.
And so whatever relationship they have with their parents is the model, at least until they start separating.
Yeah.
Right? So that all makes sense. But once you get to be about, I don't know, pick an age. Mm-hmm. Let's say in your teens, when the natural development is to push away from your parents a little bit, bond with your friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the fickle, angry God doesn't seem like much of a motivator.
True.
And yet, if you ask people, they'll say that they came to Jesus in the teens because they were afraid of going to hell.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it.
Yeah, no, I follow your logic there. And I came to faith younger than that. Mm-hmm. I was, 10 years old maybe.
Yeah.
So I was preteen. But I knew I had friends who kind of pushed against church and faith in their teens. I wasn't one of those. I kind of pulled into it. But there were kids my age that resisted that, probably for the reasons you're talking about. Some of them eventually came back.
Sure.
Some of them didn't. Some of them chose a different path.
Sure.
I think my kids are among those.
Right.
That have kind of pushed against it and have right now, they're choosing different paths. And who knows where that will lead for them. But I think you're right. The threat of a pissy God and a burning hell is not enough to keep a teen.
Wouldn't you think a pissy God could piss out a burning hell?
You would think.
I'm sorry. I just had this image. Okay. Like putting out little fires everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's stipulate for the moment that the end game of not burning in hell is different. Let's say that it's not actually the fear of burning in hell or whatever. It is the isolation. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't think most people actually, if you ask them, Christians, or people who call themselves Christians, or people who are reared as Christians, would say separation from God is the reason to believe in God. But I think that abandonment thing, that separation thing is actually it. And I think that it has to do more with, truthfully, separation from parents.
Yeah.
Separation from peer group. separation from community, separation from all of those things.
Right.
And that the language of punishment stands in
Sure, yeah, I
for
see
those
that.
things.
Mm-hmm.
For those things.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives us the option of the end game of religion is the motivation or the reasoning or the rules for being a good person. Mm-hmm. We're going to come back to that. Or the loss of community. Mm-hmm. Okay? So what other reasons have you heard people talking about as their reasons for being people of faith of any kind?
Well, the flip side of not going to hell is going to heaven. Many people from even my mom and her generation growing up in that kind of thinking, heaven is something to look forward to. And like we've talked about before, I know on this podcast and also in our ministry, you know, if you look to oppressed people throughout history, they are longing for the end of this suffering. And so a lot of times they will create for themselves an idea, this kind of utopian idea of what's going to happen when they die.
Right.
Whether that's, you know, pearly gates or golden streets or, you know,
Lack
angels
of
and harps
slavery
or whatever it is, or
Right.
just relief and freedom from whatever it is they're suffering from.
Right.
So I think that's another motivation.
Okay.
Is, you know, when this life is over, there will be something better for me.
Okay, so that's the eternal prosperity gospel.
Yeah. Not necessarily prosperity in this life,
Correct.
but in the next.
Correct.
Right.
So the win in one is you get to stay in the community. Mm-hmm. The win in the other is prosperity of some sort. So fear of expulsion versus promise of reward.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the purpose of religious faith is to be a decent person in the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we've got three. Mm-hmm. What else? What else can you think of?
I think for many progressives, you know, this is something that I don't know that I've settled this for myself. But I think what I read and what I hear about for many progressives is that the life of Jesus and the teachings of Jesus is a motivation and a model for how we can make a positive impact on the world, how we can leave the world better than we found it.
Okay.
And I think that's a good one. I think to strive as best you can to serve people and love people the way that Jesus did. And that can be lived out politically. It can be lived out in the way that you parent. It can be lived out in the way that you give of your time, your money, your resources to charity or to church or whatever that looks like. And I think all that's great. And I think what that does is it adds value to this life because there's the gratification of knowing that you are working toward making the world a better place, whatever that means. If you're working for justice, or if you're working for just, you know, helping feed people or whatever. And if Jesus is your motive, like looking at Jesus as the model for doing that, and your love for God is your motivator in doing that, and maybe your love for God helps you love people better because you have experienced the love of God, so you want to love others. Some version of that. I think that's another one. And then what happens when you die, I don't know. I think people in that kind of thinking assume that there's, you know, some kind of a peaceful existence with God after death, you know. And generally people who have this kind of view don't see God as capricious or angry. They see God as loving and accepting. So after death, of course, God will accept us, whatever that looks like and whatever that feels like. But there will be peace.
Okay. So two different things in that. One is the there will be peace. We're going to come back to that for a minute. But there's also the Jesus as model. So for Jesus as model, you don't have to believe Jesus was divine at all.
That's true.
You just have to think, oh, I like the effects of this kind of behavior in the world.
Right.
I'm going to live like that.
Yeah.
And I would say that Gandhi is a great example of somebody who saw it that way.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that. You don't have to have a religious sense of Jesus to follow him as a moral and ethical leader.
That's true.
And that goes back to that very first thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But then the other piece of that you just pointed out is there's relationship with God in there that provides peace.
Yeah.
In this life, in the next life, in some set of whatever that means.
Right.
So relationship with God as a peace bringer. is an important one. And I would argue, and people can argue against me on this one, that Buddhist ideals at their base are about relief from suffering and relief from suffering in this life.
Yeah.
And helping others relieve suffering. Like the idea is that if you become a Buddha, if you have reached the point where you are released from the anguish of suffering, doesn't mean you won't have pain, but suffering, then it is your duty to be a bodhisattva. It's your duty to have others. So in the groups that believe that once you achieve Buddhahood, you could physically cease to exist. You have a responsibility to not do that. So if you were able to achieve Buddhahood at 18, it is your responsibility to be a bodhisattva and to bring it to other people, to help them achieve what you have achieved.
Okay.
So it's not about conversion in the Christian way of thinking about it. It's about once you have something that is the ideal state, your love for others compels you to do that. But I think it's a similar thing. It's a similar thing.
Sure.
Okay. So we've got inner peace and or relief from suffering in a much more internal way. Not relief from pain, relief from suffering.
Yes.
We've got those two. And then we've got Jesus or Buddha or somebody as a model for living.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got all of those.
Right.
All right. I don't know enough about Hinduism, and it is so broad that I hesitate to even speculate. But I do know that for the Jains, their primary practice is to not cause harm. So a strict Jain will not kill anything in order to eat. So fruit that falls to the ground, fine. Fruit you have to pluck, not fine.
Wow, okay. I didn't know that.
But that's against causing harm.
Yeah.
So the end game of Jainism is, at least to some degree, not causing harm.
Okay.
Not causing pain.
Okay.
And I admit that little piece, that wanting to live without causing others pain, is one that guided me for many, 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 many years until I had this idea, not my own idea, but until I got hold of the idea that people often need pain in order to grow.
True.
And so while I don't deliberately, most of the time, cause people pain, I accept that pain is part of growth.
Pain is, it is.
So I have a huge connection to that particular one. And then, of course, there are many, many other faiths. But then the other big category, if you will, are the ones that tend to be earth-based. And I mean that in the broadest sense, where your religious faith, your religious practice is about what's happening right now on this planet, right here. To take kind of a cliched example, if I pray to a rain god, it's because I want rain. Okay? Or if I'm a Wiccan and I am lighting candles and casting a spell, it's because I'm trying to shape the environment as it is, right? Or if I'm a druid and I'm connecting with a tree, it's about shaping the environment as it is right now.
Okay.
Okay, so that's our range of endgame.
Wow, yeah. Yeah. All right, friends, we are going to pause the conversation right here because there's still so much to unpack. So far, we've explored the traditional endgames of faith, from trying to appease an angry God and avoid hell, to seeking eternal peace in heaven, to simply using Jesus as a moral model for leaving the world better than we found it. But next week, in part 2, just wait, Elane throws a major curveball. She introduces a totally different and highly mystical endgame that she's been exploring, which leads us into a deep debate over progressive Christianity versus maintaining a true and spiritual connection to God. You don't want to miss it. CocktailTheology.com is where we are. We welcome your comments, your suggestions, your ideas for episodes and cocktails. Please do get in touch, CocktailTheology.com. We appreciate you. Till next time.
Funny how the view can change, how life just seems to rearrange itself, no matter what it was. I don't know how it goes, but look, moving on feels pretty good. Moving on feels pretty good.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and hit subscribe wherever you're listening right now. We welcome your comments, questions, and ideas for conversations and for cocktails. Please get in touch with us at our website, cocktailtheology.com. Cocktail Theology is a production of SFS. Our theme song is Moving On Feels Pretty Good, recorded by yours truly, Benton Stokes. You can find my music wherever you stream your favorite artists. Join us next Thursday for another new episode.